This is no ordinary house here. This is Colin Healey's workshop attached to his house. And this is the collection that he's put together over how many years?
Oh, 40 years.
40 years. But your background is power generation
Yeah,
at the Umgeni power station.
yeah.
So that's why everything sort of has a connection to electricity generation. This is the engine I'm most excited about. I've always sort of drooled over it when we came here to your open days. What's the story behind it?
Well, this was at the University of Durban for the students to do their practical tests on the experiments. It was delivered in 1931. It's an 18 horsepower heavy oil engine, that's how it's described as. And I don't know what it drove. It must have driven some means of testing the output of the engine. Probably a dynamatic thing, whatever they call it, a generator maybe. But I got it in bits, put it in here, installed it to run. Then later on I wanted to create 11 three-phase power for my lathe, the milling machine, so I bought the generator from a farm. That's about a 20 kilowatt. I only need about 5. And so that was an afterthought put in there. And it works all right. Just got to have compressed air to start it. It starts on compressed air with that valve there and this cam here. And you only need to get it over about 2 revs. Put the compressor back, decompressor back, and away it goes. 290 revs per minute. I've got it running at about 250.
So the interesting thing is the shaft actually goes through the wall. There's a bearing on the other side, but there's also a toilet on the other side. So you got to be careful where you hang your loo roll. What's the story with this one?
This one came from a farm near Greytown. Again, it was in bits. He had it pumping water, and this was in the shed. And he converted to electricity, so this he didn't want. So the easy way of getting it out of the shed, attached a rope to it and the tractor and just yanked it out of the shed. And I found all the bits all together, but in the grass. Packet of bolts in the grass, and this somewhere else and that somewhere else. And I managed to bring it home in 2 bits in a combi, believe it or not.
No ways.
two trips. With the mains and then the shaft with the flywheel.
But how did you even find out about it?
I was in Greytown and I went to the small museum there, and they had a small open crank engine about this wide. And I said, do you ever sell them? And they said, no, because I'm looking for an engine. So they said, well, there's a farm just up the road here, about 10 k's or whenever away, and they offered offered the museum this particular engine, but they didn't want it or they couldn't go and get it. So I went to the farmer and said, I'm interested in it. He said, well, you can take it, have it.
Bloody marvellous. What a score. Okay, so now, but from here, you're driving this belt-driven line shaft arrangement.
Yeah, I wanted to demonstrate how it was in the old days in the factory where you had no electricity. At one end of the factory you'd have a steam engine and line shafts going the length of the factory with belts going down to each machine, like in this case, this one here and this one here. This is just for demo, I don't use it. And you can see the shafts all connected. They're running free because this is what they call free on the shaft or fixed to the shaft. And one is forward, this one is forward. It won't move now because it's not running, but if it's running you can go onto the fixed pulley. and come back, and then this one is for reverse.
And that's because the belt is twisted over there.
Just belts crossed, it goes the other way.
You got to be careful where you walk because there's pipes everywhere. There's steam engines all over the place. Here's a whole bunch of ship's engines.
Yeah, this one was on a ship. I don't know what size ship, but it was a generator on the ship.
Compound twin cylinder engine.
And this one was a higher speed engine driving a generator. I don't know where, but it was driving a generator. This one, a bit smaller, but driving a fan. Probably for a boiler, small boiler. It would have driven the fan for the air.
Now the boiler for this is next door. So if we go that side, there's more pretty things here.
Yeah, here we have a bit of catastrophe. I had a long chimney through the roof, but over the years it's rusted and a long strong wind came up and just blew it all to bits. So this is the boiler we used to light up and run the steam engines.
This is a winch engine.
Crane
Engine.
They come off of a crane, something to do with the railways or the harbour.
Quite a large.
Twin cylinder, forward and reverse. That way one way and that way the other way.
And then behind us is some of the stuff that you've made. Now we've looked at the ship's engine before, but we haven't looked at this. What's the story behind this?
Tell you what, let me start the compressor again.
There's a locomotive chassis. This is a model marine boiler. It's made of wood. This goes behind the traction engine over there. Another little vehicle that goes behind the traction engine, a little water tank. It's just engineering as far as the eyes can see.
Called a non-dead center engine, twin cylinder. Non-dead center really meaning self-starting. When you stop it, it'll start itself. It's a governor. Using factories, maybe paddle steamers. But the disadvantage is a lot of moving and wearing parts. You can see everything sliding backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Something's
come loose, but that's the nature of the machine. Yep.
Valve here, and again the extraction pump or air pump for the condensed water from the condenser.
Absolutely fantastic.
Okay, self-start, you shut it off and it doesn't matter where it stops.
Okay.
And that's the one that we should be running.
We can have a look at it now.